Right, looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
Yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island. Yes.
All right, is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We were sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in 17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay.
How many adults on board?
There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
Listen to this with me for a second. Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? That call was placed on July 4th, around 4 in the afternoon, from a boat drifting off Horn Island, Mississippi. And here's something you probably didn't know. It wasn't a call to 911. It was a call to a private towing company called Sea Tow. Help was arranged. A dispatcher took down the details, and within minutes, the emergency, at least on paper, was over. 2 days later, 18-year-old Nolan Wells was found dead in the water, just off that same island. Now, investigators have called this call routine. A young man overwhelmed on a sinking boat, asking for help. But since this recording surfaced, you and millions of others have picked it apart, slowed it down, and listened again, because a lot of you believe there's something in it nobody's talking about. This week, that recording got even more attention. So did the man standing in front of the cameras demanding answers for Nolan's family. So let's get into it. How did we get here? Welcome to Crime Beyond the Shadows. If you're new here, subscribe. Today, we're going back into the case of Nolan Wells. This time, I want to focus on what came out just this week. Picture this. An 18-year-old goes out on the water for a 4th of July celebration. He never comes back with his friends. A call meant for a towing company becomes the center of a national debate about what's really audible underneath it. A former FBI agent tells you the evidence points to a tragic accident. The victim's family's attorney tells you the story doesn't add up. And this week, attorney Ben Crump stood in front of cameras again, with new information that's reignited this entire case.
I had a press conference today with the family of Daniel Irvin, another 18-year-old young black man who was killed in highly questionable circumstances when he went fishing with 2 young white men who did not tell the police that he drowned, as they say, accidentally, did not call his mom, didn't do anything but throw his clothes away and throw his cell phone away, and then delete all the text messages between him and them. And it was only 4 days afterwards that they finally said that he was with them and he accidentally drowned. And then it took almost 3 months for them to charge him. The 2 young men were tampering with evidence. And yet there's been no murder charge, no manslaughter charge, just tampering with evidence. It is problematic when you think about what's happening this July 4th, 2026. 3 young black men have been killed in very similar fashion, or unalived, as Nolan Wells in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, 18 years old, was on a boat with 3 other young white men, ended up dead. Very suspicious. And then you have Tyler Smith in Lexington, Kentucky, was at a house party. He was the only African American. He somehow got shot in the head. And then the young people who were there, they threw the gun away and then called the police and said that he accidentally shot himself. They were playing a game of Russian roulette. And so far, the police has accepted that narrative. Is makes you want to holler. I mean, because you can only imagine if the roles were reversed. So we got 18-year-old Nolan Wells, we got 18-year-old Tyler Smith, and we got 18-year-old Daniel Irvin in a 3-month time frame, all killed while doing some activity with young white men, and yet nobody's been held accountable.
Stick with me to the end, and you'll understand why one recorded phone call has investigators, a grieving family, and a corner of the internet all convinced they're hearing something completely different. If you're new to this case, let me catch you up quickly. Nolan Wells was 18 years old, a rising sophomore wide receiver at Ocean Springs High School, out celebrating the 4th of July with friends on Horn Island, a barrier island off the Mississippi coast that you can only reach by boat. He was last seen around 3 in the afternoon. His friends returned to the mainland without him. He was reported missing that night. His body was found in the water 2 days later, on July 6th. Now, remember this name, Sea-Tow, not 911, Sea-Tow. And I need you to hold on to that distinction, because for weeks, headlines called this an emergency call, and that language shaped how you and everyone else understood what was happening on that boat.
Welcome to WLX News Now at 10. I'm Mackenzie Martin. We received audio from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources on Friday related to the Nolan Wells case. That recording, a call made from a teen on a boat at Horn Island on July 4th at around 4 p.m. to a private towing company. Wells traveled out on that boat with friends for the holiday, but he did not return with them. He was reported missing that night, and his body was found just off the island 2 days later. Let's listen to that call.
Right, looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn Island? Yes.
All right, is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We were sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in 17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay.
How many adults on board?
There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
Ultimately, Sea-Tow says it did not end up towing the boat. Sea-Tow said in a statement released to NBC News, before assistance was rendered, the vessel owner advised that Sea-Tow was no longer needed because help had already been obtained. Sea-Tow's involvement concluded at that point. The investigation into 18-year-old Nolan Wells' death is ongoing, according to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. The full version of the call can be heard on our website, WLX.com.
It wasn't a call to law enforcement or a rescue service. It was a call to a private towing company that helps boaters with mechanical problems. This week, the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources released the full audio. In it, you can hear a teenager telling the dispatcher the boat's bilge pump had failed and the vessel was taking on water. The dispatcher asks for membership information. He doesn't have an answer. Eventually, he gives her GPS coordinates instead. Investigators are telling you this call is a routine distress call from panicked teenagers. A lot of you online are saying there's something buried underneath it that changes everything. Here's what's confirmed, and I want to walk you through it carefully. On the recording, there's commotion in the background before the dispatcher even picks up. Once connected, the caller sounds shaken, struggling to answer basic questions. He tells the dispatcher there are no children on board and no one over the age of 21. At one point, you can hear him telling another boater nearby to jump in and help pull a plug on the boat while it's still moving. The dispatcher eventually contacts the Sea-Tow captain, who says he's already spoken to the boat operator's grandfather, a man named Jerry Adkerson, who told him the situation had been handled. According to Sea-Tow's own statement, the vessel owner said assistance was no longer needed because help had already been obtained. The tow was called off before it ever happened. That's the confirmed part. Now here's the part that isn't. TMZ obtained and enhanced this same audio and reported that in the background, muffled and layered under the panic, some listeners believe they can make out fragments of a different conversation entirely. Words like, "Is he dead?" A name that sounds like Nolan. A phrase that sounds like, "Check his chest."
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Oh, shut the fuck up! Hey, it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now. I don't know the phone number. It's either Jerry Atkerson. I think it's Jerry Atkerson. Try that. Everybody was on this phone. I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. What? I don't have the tag on here. It got ripped off. Reach me at 2. What? Yeah, everybody's off the way. What? No, we do not need that. Let me go look. Will. Alright, are you ready? North 30 degrees by 46.72. Sorry, look. What do I need to send you? Yeah, what? We do not have the VHF radio. Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79. Yes, we are at Horn Island. Yes. We were sinking, yes. Oh, we're not aground. We are in 17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water. I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes. You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou launch. No, there's no children. Hey, drop in the water. Try to jump in and pull the plug, Bart, while you're going.
Hold on. Take it out of gear. Take it out of gear.
Hello.
Take it out of gear.
Okay, what's going on? What's up? There are 0 adults on board. No. Nobody here is over the age of 21. Hello? Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat. Like 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes, we have life jackets available. A Triton, 22-foot offshore, 22-foot Triton offshore sea flight hull. Okay, thank you.
I want to be very clear with you here. None of this has been confirmed. It's disputed, and audio experts have not verified any of these interpretations as fact. The recording is muffled enough that people are hearing very different things depending on what they're already expecting to hear. So before we go any further, I want you to listen for yourself. What do you hear in the background of that call? Tell me in the comments, and give me the timestamp where you hear it.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
It's not like we didn't ask Nolan or we just left Nolan. Nolan decided to stay on the island with the girl that he was with, and the girl is a witness to that too.
Yeah.
Nolan, I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean, Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up through elementary, middle school, high school, and even our freshman year of college. We talked on the phone all the time. We were really close friends, and Nolan was like a brother to me. And Nolan lit up every room he walked in. He always had a smile on his face. He always had something good to say. I've never seen Nolan get in an argument with somebody.
It was July this year when the incident happened.
Okay. Being from the Gulf Coast, there's boating and fishing is very, very popular. The 4th of July, every year, my friends and I, or my family and I, are out on the water. That's the one day is guaranteed everybody's going out. And that's a known thing. Everybody's trying to get a ride out to Horn Island, or, people go to Ship Island, but most of everybody from Ocean Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. And, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year, and he was, this was a common thing. My friends go on the boat when we're home. I talked to Nolan, and, Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking, most of everybody. And, Nolan seemed completely fine every time I talked to him. We had just regular conversations, and, Nolan was making me laugh. I had a couple conversations with Nolan and Javon. Nolan and my buddy James, Nolan, and I could tell you, I talked to Nolan a couple times, but it wasn't like I was strictly sitting there talking to Nolan the whole day. There was hundreds of people I knew out there. So,
yeah. And Nolan said something interesting. You told me about this. Something he said to you, I would say would be indicative of y'all's friendship.
Right.
And then he also mentioned something to you about that particular day and what it meant to him.
Right.
And could you share that?
Right. Yeah. So Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking, and I grew up with Nolan, and Nolan's just like I said, like just so joyful, like always happy. Like every picture I have with Nolan or picture I have of Nolan, he's smiling. Like he's always happy. If I always need like a shed of light, I'm calling Nolan, and Nolan and I laugh and joke a lot. Like that's how our friend group is. We're really jokingly laugh. No one takes anything that serious. We enjoy our time together. There's never any awkwardness within our friend group. We're very, very tight. So if I ever need to get something off my chest or talk to anybody, I'm talking to all my friends. I'm not just talking to like specifically anybody. I would go out, like even if I'm having issues with something, I go talk to my group chat, and my guys are there to, give me a hand anytime I need it. And all my guys are, all my buddies are the same exact way. Nolan was the same exact way. If you ever need something, I'm here, man. Like that's how he was. So.
And then you guys get ready to leave prematurely.
Right.
And explain that, because you guys got there around 10.
Yeah.
It's now 4:30.
Right.
People are still out there partying and they're having a good time, but something happened to where
This detail would become crucial to everything that follows, because it's exactly the kind of ambiguity that's kept this case in headlines for weeks after most stories like this would have faded. This week also brought confirmation of something else. The FBI has been assisting Jackson County investigators not with the drowning itself, but with what the agency described to reporters as interstate threats made against individuals connected to this case. Sheriff John Ledbetter told reporters FBI involvement isn't unusual here, since Horn Island sits on federal land and his office regularly works with federal agencies. But the fact that people connected to this case have received threats serious enough to draw FBI attention tells you how far this story has traveled beyond one boat and one phone call. The truth will always come to light. Subscribe for more updates on this case. This is Crime Beyond the Shadows, and we will always bring you the cases that demand answers.